Hey, it's Matt Pinfield here at KLOS. It's new and approved, and I'm here with one of my guitar heroes, songwriting heroes, all-around amazing human being, Mike Campbell. And he's got a new record out with the Dirty Knobs called Vagabonds, Virgins, and Misfits. Mike, good to have you back on the show.
New and improved.
And
approved.
Approved,
yeah.
Let's talk about the MetLife Stadium show that you just did, which is so cool that you got up with George Strait and Chris. Talk to me, because one of the things that, was a revelation to me last night is you mentioned you guys never played stadiums. I've seen you play big outdoor, festivals. I remember the one in Delaware or Maryland.
There was a festival. Occasionally there was those big kind of things, but mostly the Heartbreakers were an arena band.
Yeah.
We were right at the cusp of moving up, maybe. But so the stadium was. We played Hyde Park. We have done some big gigs, but we didn't book a whole stadium tour like a lot of bands do now.
Yeah.
So Chris is at that level, and George Strait, of course, is at that level. And as it turned out, I was going to go to New York to promote this record. And Lawrence, my manager, set it up. He said, well, Chris Stapleton's playing Philly and D.C. and New York. Maybe he'd like you to sit in with him, because he does I Should Have Known It, which is a Heartbreaker song that I and Tom wrote. And I wrote a song with Chris for a song called Arkansas.
Yeah.
That he put on his record. So anyway, and I had sat in with him before. And so I went to New York, sat in with Chris on 2 gigs. And then at New York, at a giant stadium of all places, what the hell am I doing at Giant Stadium? Turns out George Strait does You Wreck Me in his show, which he's also recorded for that country album. So I played with Chris, 2 songs, left, came back for George Strait, and played You Wreck Me with his band. And in front of, 90,000 multi-million people. I don't know. It was out-of-body experience.
It must have been great.
But, I felt so proud because they were songs that I co-wrote, and it's just another example of my charmed life. Things just fall into my lap,
Yeah, when you think about yourself going back to, Mike, to, being born in Jacksonville but then raised in Gainesville. How old were you when you moved from Jacks to Gaines?
Actually, I wasn't raised in Gainesville. I was raised in Jacksonville and Orlando.
Oh, okay.
I only went to Gainesville when I went to college.
Oh, that's
so I was only there for 2 years where I met Tom.
Yeah.
But Jacksonville is really where my family, my mom's family and my dad's family, that's where my roots are, I guess.
Did you ever see Classics 4 or any of those bands that were around at that
I
period?
did not. I saw a band called the 1% at a comic book club downtown once. A friend of mine took me. It turned out to be Leonard Skinner.
Yeah.
I didn't know who they were, but I didn't see any of those great artists.
There's some cool bands people out of Jacks.
There were. Yeah, Johnny Tillotson, some other people. I think Ray Charles might have passed through a little bit.
Yeah.
And of course, Derek Trucks and Leonard Skinner's, and it turns out, like Tom said, there must be something in the water. There's guitar players all over Jacksonville.
Yeah, there is, which is great. And then you guys got together, which is amazing. Let's talk about some of the other songs on this record, because I love "Shake These Blues."
Oh yeah,
tell me about that.
Well, "Shake These Blues" is an old song that the Dirty Knobs were put together like 20 years ago for me to do things between the Heartbreakers tours. And we would play, bars and stuff for fun, and that was one of our bar songs, And it's inspired by the Yardbirds. It starts with the riff, and it goes to the double time in the middle, And it's just it's an exuberant song full of adrenaline and testosterone.
Yeah, I think it's great. When you speak about that, I know you and I also have that love for a lot of '60s. Garage rock that was happening, and even the records that were inspired by the Yardbirds, like Count 5, Psychotic Reaction.
Yeah, there you go.
Which you guys, and you've done so many cool covers. I mean, I look back at the covers that you've done over the years. You know what I mean?
I love that music. That era is just, I'm enamored with it.
Isn't it? It just doesn't.
And "Shake These Blues," I would point out too, like several of the other rockers on the album, is all live.
Yeah.
Maybe I fixed a vocal line here and there, overdubbed a slide at the end, but basically the song is me and the band playing, the 4 of us, and all the way through, solos live as they went by, and so it's kinetic that way.
Yeah. Now I know Steve Ferroni plays on a couple tracks, but you've got, which is great.
Yeah.
And also Lance, the bass player, he's really great. He's that guy. It was so great to hang out with him last night, and
he is my solid anchor in this band. Lance Morrison, we call him Crawdaddy.
Yeah.
He picked his own name. We all have nicknames in the band, but he wanted to be Crawdaddy. He's from Texas. He's done some work with Don Henley, solo touring and this and that, and recording. He did a record years ago called Einstein's Brain. It's really pretty good. But on the bass, if you listen to the record and really focus on the bass, he is nailing it. I mean, he's just working it, and he's so solid. And as you saw, just a sweetheart.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah, I'm lucky to have him.
He was great. We were just talking about records last night. Like we did, like you and I do, which I love. And it's, I think that's what's great is you surround yourself, Mike, with people that are real music lovers. Always.
Well, they've just gravitated to me.
Yeah.
I guess I'm a magnet of some sort.
You are. You absolutely are. It was funny. I know this is off the cuff, but I always wanted to ask Bon Jovi. I'm like, when you had your first band, John Bon Jovi and the Wild Ones, I go, was it the Tom Petty song, Wild One Forever, the song from the first album? And he goes, yes, it was.
Really?
That's where I got the name for my first band.
Really?
Yeah, it has been.
Don't we get a cut of that?
Yeah. So, because, I mean, how could you... That song is just one of the greatest.
That's quite a compliment, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like he was talking about how, even though he was, lumped in with a lot of other, hair metal bands, that he listened to things like Tom Petty and
It's
Lizzy
surprising
and
to me that you would
Springsteen.
say that. I mean, but I've had so many people come up from Chris Stapleton to Margot Price to lots of people that I've just met that go, your band inspired me to be a musician and really, helped me get through life. That's the greatest compliment.
It really is.
Yeah.
Do you think, when you look, one of the things that's so cool, Mike, too, is, as I mentioned before, you guys have done so many covers, and it's always like you guys are having so much fun when you're doing them. Like, even back to when I used to collect Tom Petty, all the records, and there'd be a cover of I Fought the Law, Route 66, in the early days. I mean, because, I was that kid who loved the band so much that I was hungry for anything. I'd try to find every import.
That's great. Well, thank you. But, yeah, we are children of the 60s, and when we do a cover, we work it up in rehearsal. Somebody might say, let's try Don't Bring Me Down, or The Animals, or whatever. Somebody might come in with a song, Take Out Some Insurance, whatever it might be. And the Heartbreakers were such a good band, and so we would listen to the record and we would put our stamp on it, but we always tried to stay true to the vibe of the original. And every time we do one of those covers, it kind of reinvigorated our inspiration and got us back in touch with what got us going in the first place.
Yeah.
They're always fun to do.
Yeah, Don't Bring Me Down is a perfect example because I love that version that was on the single. And when your guitar comes, it just has that. It's
well, it's funny. I'll tell you a story about that song. It was written by Carole King and Jerry Goffin.
Yeah.
And we were playing the Universal Amphitheater once in L.A., and we did that song.
Yeah.
And backstage, Jerry Goffin was in this crowd. He came back to say hi to us. And he was going, yeah, that was good. And of course, when on stage, Tom said, here's a Carole King song.
Yeah.
And Jerry Goffin came, just so you know, I wrote that song too.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. We'll make sure to get that right next time.
Yeah, exactly.
So, there you go.
Yeah. Oh, God, they wrote some great songs together, didn't they?
Oh, God, I would love to sit down and talk with her.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, all the stuff she did, and Barry Mann and Cynthia Well, like all that stuff from that era.
Incredible songs.
I love all that. We got to get out of this place. I mean, all the bands that were gifted.
Yeah,
those
you wouldn't
great
think
songs.
that would be her or Don't Bring Me Down. That might have been Jerry's. They probably having an argument or something.
Yeah.
You complain and criticize. I feel I'm nothing in your eyes. But Don't Bring Me Down. What a great song. Maybe he wrote more of it than she did.
Yeah.
But I would never have expected that it was a Carole King song.
No, you wouldn't. Yeah.
But she has written, like you said, a lot of songs you might not think were her.
Yeah.
That are a Pleasant Valley Sunday, I think she wrote.
Yeah, right, exactly.
All kinds of stuff. It's like hundreds of songs.
Yeah, they're so good. They really are. And tell me about going out and touring for this record, Mike, because people are really excited to get to see you.
I'm excited, too. We haven't played in a year or more. We started rehearsing, and it was just like we never left. And the new album will be featuring most of it in the tour, and most of the songs that were played live, we already kind of know how they go. We don't have to relearn them. So we're really excited to play. So we'll be doing a lot of the new album, a couple of the songs from the first two albums, and then we always throw in, a revolving choice of Heartbreakers songs. Most of the ones maybe I co-wrote. And we change those up from night to night just as a tribute to my legacy and to Tom.
Yeah.
It makes me feel good, and the audience always enjoys those. But most of the set will be the new album.
Yeah, which is great. I looking back at You've co-written so many great songs. When you were talking about Refugee, that was one of the hardest ones to record, right? Because of the amount of time.
Yeah, it was one of those phases we were going through where we just couldn't get a groove, and Jimmy Iovine was driving us like Mussolini, you know.
Yeah.
he was going for greatness, and we were just trying. The more we tried, the worse it got. It's such a simple song.
Yeah.
But we wanted, and we were so naive. You know, like nowadays you could cut it and paste it, and back then we could have cut the tape. Like, well, this chorus is great, but that verse was good. We'll cut them together. We didn't think about that. We want a performance from start to finish. It's got to have magic. 5 guys all at once have to. And so it took a while for that song to come together. But it's a powerful song. You know,
It is a great song.
I'm glad we put the work into it.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, because, I mean, on the first 2 records you did with Denny Cordell and stuff like that, you know, a lot of that stuff was pretty much live. I mean, you got the feeling for it, you know?
The first 2 records, a lot of it was live in the studio.
Yeah, you remember I was talking about how, you know, you guys, the first single thing, there was that compilation album from Belgium, Guy for the New Wave.
E4 New Wave.
Remember that record?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Anything that's rock and roll on it, which was such a great song and a great introduction. But people were like, hey, there's a New Wave. But, and then you realize you guys weren't really
but
a New
the
Wave.
second side was the Ramones or something?
Yeah, it was like the X-Ray Specs and like Generation X with Billy
Goofies.
Idol. It was like a real, you know what I mean? It was a very...
I'm surprised you ever saw that.
Yeah,
funny.
well, I got that, but that, you know, piqued my interest as a kid.
Yeah.
And then I bought, because it was like a compilation album. You know, when you were a kid, if you mowed lawns to buy records, you're like, a compilation, I can learn more bands. And then you, but then I bought the first record.
Journalists knew what category to put us in, you know. Because it was right around 1977. We went to England, and it was the Clash and the Sex Pistols and the Ramones from New York. And they kind of threw us in with that, you know. And I remember Tom doing an interview once, and they go, this is pure Tom. The guy goes, so are you a punk? And Tom goes, you call me a punk, I'll cut you.
Yeah. That's such a great moment. That's amazing.
But no, we weren't really a punk band, but we were around to soak up some of that energy. And yeah, that was a good time.
I mean, when people saw you on the Old Grey Whistle test over there, you like made immediate fans in the UK that loved the band.
England liked us. I don't know, because we had the record out in America, and it was just kind of struggling. We went to England, and I guess we just were at the right place at the right time with the right attitude. And then, that energy from England spread back over, and when we came back to the States, things started to come up for us.
Yeah, which was great. And then, of course, you know, getting to see you guys, that you're going to get a tour was a big thing for me. And that's how into it I was. This is funny. I actually went to the theater when I found out that Tom was in the movie FM for like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I was like, I can get a glimpse of this guy who's in a band that I love. I'll go.
Yeah,
and it's like this.
Yeah.
It's the shortest scene ever. Breakdown's playing for a second.
Well,
but
Tom,
I mean, that's, you know, back then you didn't have, you know, that many opportunities to see the artists that you love.
It was a special thing, yeah. And Tom, you know, God bless him, he was a great band leader, and he had that look and charisma and attitude. It was really good for the Heartbreakers to have him in there.
Yeah.
In charge. Yeah.
It's amazing. Mike, I mean, you're such a guitar hero to so many people that have loved you or pick up the guitar because, you know, you made them feel like there's something emotional about the way that you play. I mean, you can feel it. It's real. It's a tangible, great feeling. What about you? Who were your favorite guitarists? I know you've been asked this a lot, but when you and I start talking about the British Invasion era, I think about who are some of the people, though, that you really love when you think about guitarists first?
Well, that's a good question, and I have many favorites from that era. I mean, what a great era. It's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
Where'd all those great guys go? But when I was growing up, Chuck Berry was the first thing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Beatles, big deal. The Stones, the Kinks, the Animals, the Hollies. It was just like an invasion of all this great music, you know. And I was learning the guitar, so I had that as my teachers. You know, I would learn off the records, and it was just so inspiring, you know. And I think some of that maybe rubbed off on me. You know, that's where I'm coming from.
Oh, absolutely. You know, there's you can feel it in there.
I am a child of the '60s. I'm carrying the torch.
Yeah. Hey, I love those records so much. I mean, I think they're some of the greatest records of all time.
Yeah, I know it sounds snobbish, but I think that was the best era ever. You know.
It was amazing in how many bands.
And I always thought it was going to always be like this. There's always going to be tons of great bands like the Beatles. They could keep on going. And then into the 60s, into the 70s, that became just like a little Renaissance period that came and went.
Yeah, it's interesting how there's patches of time
Yeah.
where it feels like there's a groundswell.
Yeah.
You know.
But
Yeah.
if you didn't live through it, I mean, you can't really explain to people how powerful it was when the Beatles came on TV.
Yeah.
And the whole culture, the whole world was feeling this vibration of that type of music was exploding. British bands influenced the English, the American bands, Beach Boys and the Beatles and all that. And it was a quite heady time to grow up. I'm really fortunate I was there.
Yeah. And when you discovered the Byrds, were you a big fan of that too?
The Byrds,
of course.
yeah.
Because those records are great.
Yeah, I mean, I was hypnotized when I heard that 12-string. Turn, turn, turn. That would come on. I would just stop.
Yeah.
And just stare into the wall. Like,
Yeah.
well, what is that sound? I got to find out what that is.
Yeah,
And as
exactly.
soon as I could get a 12-string, I did. And of course, then I ended up meeting Roger, being friends with him. Go figure.
Yeah, me and Roger. And then Roger, with Thunderbird covered American Girl.
Well, yeah.
Like shortly, wasn't it like right after you guys released it?
Yeah, I'll tell you a little story about that.
Yeah.
We were playing the Heartbreakers were playing the Bottom Line.
Yeah.
With Roger McGuinn. And we were both, it was 2 sets a night, We would play, Roger would play, we would play, and Roger would play. And he had American Girl on his record, and so did we. So you'd hear the song 4 times in the night if you stayed there the whole time. But I have a funny memory of being backstage between sets there, and Grace Slick came back. Because Grace Slick would like to say hi, and I like that. The Starship, or not Starship, the airplane.
Yeah.
And so she came back, and she was all part. She had this great line. She goes, "Hi, Grace, how you doing?" He goes, "I'm just looking for a dude with a lewd." And that was her.
The days of Quaaludes,
Yeah.
right? 714s.
She's from San Francisco. She's a party girl.
Yeah. I think I don't know if I ever told you this, Mike, but I ended up living in Paul Kantner's apartment after he passed away.
Oh, really?
On the corner of Grant and Vallejo. And I took it sight unseen because it was Jefferson Airplane, Paul Kantner's apartment. They're like, the landlord, who's like a guy in the neighborhood, who goes to me, "Matt, he knew I needed to move to a new place." So he goes, "Well, you want the Paul Kantner place?" I'm like, "Take it, done." I knew where it was. I'd never
Did you find
seen it.
any old roaches under the couch?
Here's what I did find. You're going to laugh about this. So I finally go and turn on the shower. Like I go in the bathroom. It's not very big. But I turn on the shower, and all of a sudden the shower head starts shooting psychedelic lasers, water-powered lasers into the showering area. And I'm like, perfect. This, of course. It's more, and I, because I love Surrealistic Pillow. Those
There you
records are
go.
great.
It's
Volunteers,
very
right?
69. isn't
Yeah,
it?
so but it was wild that I guess somebody made it for him. Like I'd never seen anything
I may
like
have
it
to
before.
get one of those. That sounds good to me.
Yeah, it's cool. It's and my landlord actually let me take it when I moved back to Los Angeles. I'm like,
so the beams come down. And
yeah,
in the
they
water?
literally shoot pretty
That's
quickly. So it's
great.
like a little light show while you take a shower.
Stay in
Maybe
there for
wake
hours.
up a little bit. It's pretty funny, but it's
Showers
genius.
have such great acoustics.
Yeah, yeah. So it's great because obviously he being a founding member of the band, and but I thought you got a kick out of that. But the Grace thing, that makes total sense, because I would still get mail sometimes for her daughter there.
Really?
Yeah. So we'd pass it on, but Mike, this is great, man. I'm so glad. Before we go, you got to tell me about I like the song "My Old Friends" too. Can you tell me a bit about that track?
My Old Friends. I was just having fun with the words, and we did it one take, and I think the vocals live on that. I was just reading them, and I had to change a few of the lines because it's all the characters in this are drinks that sound like people's names.
Yeah.
And I started having fun with that. There's quite a few of them,
Yeah.
Anne Heiser-Bush, and
Yeah.
Stella Artois.
Yeah.
Jim Beam, Jack Daniels. And I thought, it might be enough to get a few verses. And it was fun for me, and I didn't take it that serious, although it's a great feeling track. And then the record was done, and George came in, Draculius, and said, I just heard that today. That's got to go on the record, because I think you just need a little smile, a little light send-off at the end. So it came back, and we put it on the record.
Yeah, that's fun.
And Chris Stapleton sings the harmonies on it with me.
Yeah, that's great. And it makes sense for that track, too.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
But this
Funny
is...
song, yeah.
And then the opening track, The Greatest, is...
The Greatest, we just come off a tour when I wrote that, and we were starting to record the album, and I just had this feeling. I wanted to capture that feeling of gratitude that our band has we get such great support on the tour from the crowds, and Most of the shows were sold out, and they were just so enthusiastic and engaged with us and so deeply that I wanted a song that was like, thank you, you know. And I was thinking, who else has done that? You know, Queen had that song, We Will Rock You, and it was just like a testament to the crowd.
Yeah.
I thought, well, we can't do that, but we could do just a thank you song.
Yeah.
And it was thrown together real quick. You know, you are the greatest, the crowd. And it's one of those nights, you know, everything feels right. And it was real simple. And we just had a groove to it, and the band came in. I was finishing it up. We played it once or twice. And it ended up sounding like kind of a Sgt. Pepperish type track. It's kind of psychedelic a little bit and droney and simple harmonies. It's simple, really, but it's sweet.
Yeah, it is. It's really cool. I love that Ben Mont's on the record, too, which is always great.
Me too.
Because he's so awesome. You know?
Yeah, he's the best.
He really is.
There's none better in my book.
Yeah, I mean, he's just always been so amazing. And
always.
And what a great man, too.
In the Heartbreakers, he was the real musician.
Yeah, he was good. You were all, I'd say you were all pretty damn good at it.
Yeah, but we're like all kind of, you know, rough and rowdy misfits, but Ben like knew what the notes were in the chords.
Yeah. Now you guys are still in touch with Stan sometimes too,
yeah,
which is great.
Stan, I had a reconnection with him last year. We were on tour and I needed a drummer, and he came out for a couple of weeks, and we connected again, mended all our fences. It was really sweet.
Yeah, I'm so glad to hear that.
So that was really good. And Ron, I'm still in touch with. Of course, Ferroni now is the Dirty Knobs drummer. He said, "Can I have my seat back?" I said, "Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You got it. It's yours."
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm still in touch. I just saw Scott yesterday with you. I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah.
Scott Thurston was there.
Yeah, it was great to see him.
And Benmont, too.
Yeah, well, it was a great night.
Plays on this Ringo Starr song that we did.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Which is great, you know. It's
fun, yeah.
I love that. I think it's just, when you guys are all, because you're such a big part of our history, you know what I mean? Music.
And mine, too.
Of my life. And yours, which is
what I love is when people come up and they go, "Your music is the soundtrack of my life." And I go, "Mine, too."
Yeah, exactly. Which is true, of course. But thank you for writing it and
performing
it. What you got to say?
Tom, too. I mean, it's just, what are they, you know, it's just, we're just lucky. We're just living the dream.
Yeah, I think it's great. And I'm so glad you're back with this new record.
Me too. I love it. I can't quit music. I've got too much to say and too much to do, and I got this great band, and there's no place else to have that kind of fun.
Yeah, and you love to do it. That's your favorite thing to do.
I do love it as much as ever.
I mean, you know, I say this all the time. Like I say, I never want to retire. Not from what? From doing...
From what?
Being around music and music you love. I just want to be able to play it for people, turn people on to it, talk about it, old, new, and I love it.
That's why you're good. When you love something, you're good at it. You know, and somebody asked me the other day, like, when you pick up a guitar now, do you still get the same feeling the first time you ever picked it up and that little light went on? I said, absolutely I do.
Yeah.
I pick it up and go, yeah, I love this thing. I'm going to play it, you know.
Because it's a part of you, and it's I'm the same way. Never lost that passion, never lost that feeling.
It's also like a connection to your youth. You know? I always feel young when I play music.
Yeah.
You know, it reminds me of that feeling of discovering it. I'm always discovering it again. You know?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for bringing that up. But I get a little emotional because I love it.
Yeah.
But music is the best thing going on.
Yeah, it is. It's the greatest thing in the world. I don't know where. I don't know where we'd be without it. Put it that way.
Yeah, pretty dark. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I say all the time because the world's a crazy place. But listen, Mike, thanks so much for coming in and hanging today. I always love talking music with you.
You too, man. You're smart and you love it. I can tell. And we have the same instincts, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. That's why I so enjoy it. It's for me, it's a very important thing. It's a dream. Being your fan for so long and then actually be able to call your friend now and talk to you about music.
I appreciate that. I hear you.
Is a great thing. So I'm grateful to have you still rocking and making great records like this.
Cool, man.
So thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Mike Campbell, everybody. The new album is called Vagabonds, Virgins, and Misfits. It's the third record for Mike Campbell and the Dirty Knobs. Great stuff on it. Great guests. Make sure you check it out. Thanks so much for watching and listening to KLOS New and Approved. I'm Matt Pinfield. I'll be back with you next time.